All right, all right. Looks like we are live. Get a little coffee there. It's early. It's not that early, but I woke up early with Izzy, of course. So, anyway, welcome everyone. So this is new camera lens, new camera lens. It's the Sigma 16 millimeter, but it's like the f-stop's like 1.4, so it kind of nice because it blurs out the background a little bit. A little focus kind of right here on me, but it's pretty cool. I haven't messed with it yet, but like it'll actually like change up the depth, so it's pretty cool. But I can lock it in to be this distance if I want. Haven't played with it enough, so this is the first time. So hopefully, as I'm talking with my hands, it doesn't change that zoom on me too much. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Don't steal my fingerprint there, anybody. So, hey Matthew, Jason, what's up? Jason, ha. Samuel, what's going on? Looking crisp, yeah. Except for me, I need to shave and trim up a little bit. But hey, it's Monday, right? Okay, so yeah, enough with the new lens and so forth. So what we're gonna do today? Let's get this set up right. That's all me. Here we go. There's me and the desktop. So done with me now. Okay, so we're gonna set up a new project, and you can't really see the background anymore with this new lens, but I did like a little model diagram on the whiteboard there behind me. And basically, we've had some time to think about our wedding. We were looking at like the album and the photos that the photographer took from our wedding. And we were just kind of thinking like, man, it'd be cool to see like what the other photos people took at the wedding were. And, of course you can post it on Facebook and you can post it on Twitter and Instagram and hashtag Jason's Ashley wedding kind of stuff. But like, and there are services, actually, look, there are services. But I was like telling her like, that'd be so easy to build. Just like this little, upload your guest list, QR code, you punch in your name and you start sharing, pictures that you took from your phone, right? Like super, super straightforward application. I was like, I could totally build that. Yeah, I mean, it might not look pretty, but I could build it. And she was like, really? And I don't think she believed me. So I got some time. It's a little slow during the holidays with Shift. There's not really any releases. There's actually, most people start to take off towards the holidays, so there's not many shifts coming in. There's not many consulting projects coming in. So like, I don't know. I think it'd be a cool time to just kind of hack on stuff, maybe use some new features in Laravel that I haven't used. I don't get a chance to really write many of my own Laravel projects. Even just looking at the docs before this stream, I noticed just some of the new features that I had read about but haven't used even in the Laravel installer, like the ability to now specify Git and the branch and so forth when you actually make a new Laravel application. So just a lot of cool little features here. Using Blueprint, for example. I built Blueprint, but I don't really get a lot of opportunities to use it myself. So that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to kind of start up this application. We're going to build these models that are not visible on the whiteboard behind me. And we're going to use Blueprint to do that. So we'll see how far we get. As always, feel free to post any questions, suggestions, whatever in the chat. I'll keep an eye on those things every now and then. Hey, James, glad you're joining for the first time there. And let's get started. So I'm just going to jump out to the command line. Let's copy that in, and I don't have a name for this project yet. My goal is to kind of make something pretty straightforward. Maybe later in the week we'll use like Tailwind UI to give it some kind of prettiness. And then maybe this weekend or something I might, if she hasn't caught on by then, I might like send Ashley a QR code or a link in her email and be like, oh, check this site out, and kind of pretend, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll just call it Project A for Project Ashley, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're going to install everything new here, it looks like. I actually don't have PHP 8 on my local machine, so normally I run things through Docker, and of course there's Sail now with Laravel. Hey Matt, yeah, sorry, I did a little demo in the beginning of like moving the finger around. It's pretty crisp, although it makes me feel like I have to shave now. So anyway, let's see here. All right, so let's just cd into project A. And look at that, it made a Git repository with a main branch. Oh, that's funny. Did it make... Oh, it did. It even made an initial commit, set up a fresh Laravel app. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's a way better experience than before where you had to go in, get init, add everything, initial commit, you know, project creation, whatever. That's cool. I like that. You can even specify the branch, which I'd changed locally a while back to main. I think I tweeted about how you can configure that in your local settings. But anyway, it was cool that it was an option as well. So that's it. That's all we really need to do for a Laravel project. PHP Artisan serve, maybe? We'll just kind of use all the basic stuff we can until the wheels fall off. So yeah, everything's good to go here, I think. Let's go back and we'll kill this. I might even just use like an SQLite database for the time being. We'll see. Okay, so I feel pretty good about having the project set up. Let's go to Laravel Blueprint and we'll just kind of follow the installation here. So let's bring in Blueprint so we can do this ourselves and give that a second to run. Who's using SwiftMailer? Oh, I think Laravel still is. That's a Laravel 9 change, I believe. Okay, so I'm not really going to commit the composer stuff just now because Blueprint's probably not something I would keep in the project after I use it. So yeah, and then I think PHP Artisan Blueprint init, I think. Oh, Blueprint new, maybe? I do have new. Oh, it's a colon. See, look at me. Don't even use it. Okay, so it seems like, if I remember right, what Blueprint does is it automatically tries to connect to the database to read anything about your current models. I'm not sure if Blueprint's super compatible with SQLite, but again, it's an opportunity for me to use some of these tools myself, so let's kind of check it out. Wasn't there the beginning, Benjamin? The purpose of the project is to show Ashley that I am a cool developer. No, the project is going to be a wedding album sharing tool, but like, you know, not super feature rich. It's really just more about that specific day, people at the event. Maybe you've got a little, little paper or sign on the tables, and people can scan a QR code. It's going to take them directly to your event URL, and they kind of verify that they're on the guest list by entering their name. Basically, really lightweight authentication process. And then from there, they can upload photos. And then, of course, these photos maybe aren't public until like the wedding party reviews them. But what's nice is like maybe you're sitting at the airport the next day for your honeymoon or whatever, you're traveling for your honeymoon, and it just gives you like a super quick way to see photos from that day, kind of relive that moment. Because you know what we found, again, I'd never been married before, so I didn't really know the process, but like we kind of just now got our wedding photos back. I mean, we got married 6 weeks ago, so you just don't have a lot of pictures from that day right away. And again, there are services out there that kind of do this already, but like, I don't know. Again, we were just talking about it. We thought it was cool, and she was just kind of like, "Oh, can you really build that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can build that." So that's what we're doing. I'm gonna try to build it. So, okay. First things first, though. Let's get in here and see if we can change this to SQLite and just kind of drop the rest of this. And I think if we touch a database.sqlite, let's see if Blueprint. Okay, cool. So Blueprint does seem to work with SQLite. It probably won't work with super advanced things, but it did trace a model. If we get in here and I refresh, I don't know why it's not reloading that from disk, but if we look at Blueprint, it is going to trace a user model. The interesting thing, though, is it didn't find anything on that user model. And I think I know why. I probably need to do PHP artisan migrate. There we go. And now if I trace and we look at Blueprint, okay, cool. So we get name, string, email, we get information. So what Blueprint's doing behind the scenes when you fire up a new one is it's giving you a draft file to start building, but it's also creating kind of this cache file of your models and your controllers, a little bit of meta information about your project. What's really, really cool and kind of a tricky thing about this with Blueprint, just a little hot tip, because you've traced everything, let's say your project didn't have factories, you didn't have factories for all your stuff, you could actually trace or run new with your Blueprint commands, and then you could just generate just the factories. So even if you have existing applications, Blueprint still has some really cool little hacky ways you can use it because of this kind of Blueprint file. You can actually trace information about your models and start generating things like seeders, start generating things like, again, factories would be the prime example. So instead of having to go through your entire application and generate a bunch of factories by hand, or even the simple artisan make command, you could generate, legit factories just by tracing and then running generate factories. Okay, so again, just a little quick tip there. So what we're going to do is let's go to the draft file, and again, you can't, given this new lens, you can't see this behind me here, but what I want to do is start generating really just a bunch of models. So we already have our user model, which is one of them here. Let me just remind myself of the rest here. I'm going to turn my back to the camera. I think that's an entertainment no-no. Let's do this instead. So I've got event, attendee, and photo. Let's see what those look like. Don't ask again, never again. Okay, so we already have user. Let's go into attendee. And the format here is we just keep kind of indenting down the line here. So an attendee is gonna have a name probably, and that's just gonna be a string. And what other things can we do here? What else might an attendee have? I don't think we really care about a lot more information. Again, we want this to be super lightweight. Like when someone comes in to join the event, we're really just going to ask for their name and verify that it's part of the guest list. So let's just leave that alone for now and let's keep going. So we're also going to have an event, and an event is probably going to have a name as well, just a string, and then we're probably going to have some kind of like date of the event. So what could we call that? I know Laravel likes to do a lot of like _@. So what we could do, like held at, help at. We could do like held at, timestamp. Yeah, I don't like held. That's kind of lame. Occurs at, happened at. I don't know. Created at's not really the same. And then you're definitely going to have some kind of like user ID. And I think we can just call this like ID. And Blueprint should be smart enough to pick up, because we're following, the Laravel conventions. It should be able to pick up that that's part of the user model. What else might an event have? It's going to be related to a user. That's going to be the owner. Everything else is going to be a relationship back to the event. So let's keep going. I don't like held at, so if there's any suggestions in the audience, let me know what you think. An event happens on, held at, I don't know, occurs at. Anyway, there'll be some photos, photo, and then this will basically be an attendee is going to take that photo. It's going to be part of an event. Yeah, held at is more location based. That's kind of lame. Occurred at is good. Yeah. Occurred at. Took place at. Yeah. Yeah, at's what's really throwing it off. Started at. Yeah. The started at to me like implies like it has an end. And it's not always going to be futuristic. Yeah, scheduled at, it's not bad. Scheduled at's not bad. Yeah. We'll let it marinate a little bit longer. Event date, yeah. Yeah, if you dropped at, you could definitely just do like date, but yeah. Yeah, lots of ideas. I like to follow like kind of Laravel's lead. Again, that published at, created at, all those feel so cool. All right, so photos. So an attendee takes a photo. It's for an event. We're probably going to want some kind of like approved flag. Or maybe not so harsh. Let's call it like reviewed, maybe. It's Boolean. And then I think we have defaults. I think we allow defaults. Let's do it's married at. Yes. That's excellent. Married at. I love it. All right, cool. So anyway, yeah, soft deletes. Good point. We might have a photo be like a soft delete maybe. Okay, so we have reviewed the default 0. So again, a photo is uploaded. Maybe it's not automatically kind of approved. So yeah, we'll kind of go with that. And yes, you're right. Soft delete. Let's get in here and look at models. See, I just don't even use this enough. I forgot it all. I think there's like a soft. There's a way to tag a model as like soft delete with like a really fancy shorthand. Soft, yeah, there it is. Soft deletes. Yeah. So, and I don't even think you have to type ID. I think it's just like Blueprint provides an implicit by automatically generating the ID and timestamp columns. Yeah. You never need to specify these columns when defining models. Yeah. Okay, so we will say soft deletes on a photo. If somehow they delete it, we probably wouldn't want it to go away entirely. Okay, I think that's probably okay for photos. And then we're also going to have like a guest list. And this will have a user ID, or well, it really has an event ID is what the kind of the parent of this is. Do we even need that? Do we even need that, or is it like logical? I feel, and what I mean by that is just kind of thinking out the UI a little bit. I go in, I'm a user, I create an event, and then I upload a guest list. That's not really creating its own model, like explicitly. What it's really probably doing is pre-building these attendees, like it's just pre-building those and mapping them to an event. So what we probably need is, what we need to focus on now probably is more the relationships. So probably what would happen is a relationship can like, you know, belong to many events basically. So if an attendee doesn't already exist in there by that name, it would kind of map them to that particular event, giving them access in the table. And then when they log in, they kind of verify and they're able to upload photos, because they're not, an attendee can't like self-register is what I'm getting at. So it's really just a UI implementation detail of the fact that you could upload this guest list that has just a bunch of attendee names in it. So yeah, so let's read about relationships, because honestly I kind of forgot. Okay, so let's look at belongs to. So an attendee doesn't belong to an event necessarily. So this is going to have, in fact, belongs to are automatically generated for any column defined with an ID type. Okay, cool. So we don't have to worry about this, and we don't have to worry about these. Those are automatically going to get built for us. Again, another powerful thing of Blueprint is just the fact that like it's going to do as much as it can. Like this is going to generate not only the migrations, you know, the models themselves, factories, potentially seeders if we tell it to. We can start leveraging these in the controllers here in just a minute. But like the relationships are built, and I mean 14 lines of code, and we're going to have pretty much the entire core foundation of the application built. Now we may forget, you know, a name. We may change this to schedule that or whatever. You know, it's just a matter of kind of changing that up. So, but the point is like, it's just 14 lines and you get a lot. What we do need to focus on, it seems like, is probably this, these harder, like more complex relationships. So let's take a look at that. So to define additional relationships, add the relationships section. Okay, so while you may specify the relationships anywhere in the model section, recommends doing it at the bottom for each relationship. Okay, will automatically generate the pivot table for belongs to many. Yes, okay, so that's what we want. I think we want a belongs to many event, right? And that's going to create that pivot table that we want, it looks like. So again, don't even need to do all that kind of stuff. It just figures it out. Okay, what other kind of relationships should we add here? Event on? Yeah, it's a good name. Are you going to handle the file path on a separate model or maybe on photo? Oh yeah, good call. We obviously need probably the file name, right? I guess that's a string. And then the other thing I just thought of is the event's going to need some kind of like, not really like a UUID, but it's going to need some kind of like short code, right? Or slug. Let's call it slug. I like that. That's probably going to be a UUID. That's probably the simplest thing to do right now. But if we leave it string, we can, you know, manipulate it with the application code and not necessarily at the database level. So we are going to need a slug, so that made me think of that. And then file name, I don't know. Should we go file name or should we just say path? I guess file name. I don't know. Naming stuff is hard. All right, let's look at these relationships here to make sure we're kind of getting all the ones we need. Again, I quite frankly don't build a lot of fresh Laravel apps, so some of these relationships are worth scrolling through here to see if we can create some cooler stuff. So they're definitely not one-to-many. We're definitely getting into like the many-to-many scenario. So these are all belongs to, the photos all belong to the event. So I don't think there's any kind of has many here, unless we wanted to say, you know, an attendee has many photo, probably. We probably would want that. So an attendee could log in and see all the photos they uploaded, whether they're, you know, reviewed or not. We probably want to look at that. Has one of many. I don't think we need to worry about that one. That's pretty advanced. Advanced has one through. I don't think we need any bridge table kind of stuff. Has many through, same thing. I don't think we need that. I could see us maybe creating that later, like where a user could see photos for the event, like some kind of convenience relationship where it's easy to see there. But yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, so let's review this one more time, and I think let's go ahead and generate it and start seeing like what kind of code we get, right? So models attendee, let's see what time it is. We've got just a few minutes here. Oh, sorry. All right, cool. Izzy gets up from her nap in like 30 minutes, so I'll probably go another 15 and then we'll push everything else to tomorrow. So let's get this generated. Okay, so attendee is just a name. It's just a person. The relationships, they're going to have a lot of photos, and then they're going to belong to many events, and that's going to create the bridge table back and forth. Because again, you might attend a lot of weddings for people that are using this application. So that'll give us the bridge table. So the event is a name. It's got a slug. We'll just leave schedule that for now. That's a quick rename. And then it's going to have basically a user ID, which is the owner of that event. And then photo will be taken by an attendee. It's going to be associated with an event. Of course, it's going to belong to an event. We got a file name. So yeah, I agree. Let's just change that to path. And then reviewed by default, you know, you don't want it showing up. We don't want anybody taking any weird pictures. Whoops. So let's hit the wrong button there. Oh my gosh, come on. Just close them. Close them all. All right. So yeah, path reviewed, and then I guess we're gonna make photos soft deletable. It kind of, again, I think that's an application detail. I feel like if the owner deletes it, then we would soft delete it. But if the original taker, the attendee who took that photo, deletes it, then we probably would want to actually delete it. Like it's kind of their property, so to speak. All right, let's look at controllers. Let's go back to controllers. So you need to add has many event to the user model. Has many event to the user model. Yes. Blueprint. For Blueprint, we don't want to, you can't actually currently modify, you can't modify an existing model at the moment. It's something I'd like to build in the future, but at the moment you can't. So we'll probably just add that manually when we're done. But good point. Let's remember that here in just a minute. Matthias, yeah, we're probably not. I don't want to make this like Facebook necessarily. I just want to, again, kind of generate the core functionality here. So we're keeping it pretty straightforward. Again, kind of doing a quick Google search for like, wedding event photo sharing. There are services that do that, and they do have like the ability to comment and like and all that kind of stuff. That's not really what I'm after. I'm after something a little more streamlined, a little more clean than that. And again, all this is really just kind of to show Ashley. I don't expect it to be something I actually launch. So I think what I'm going to do is just make a bunch of resource shorthands for this. So let's do that. I think there's a way to limit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is attendee, I think we just, do we say attendee controller? No, we just say attendee, and it's all going to be built for us automatically. And then we can say resource show, basically. And you know what? They probably have like an edit and an update. So again, Blueprint allows us to generate a large amount of code for writing a very little. And to the point a minute ago, like I don't want to try to craft the entire application here. I really just want this to be, give me kind of that quick foundation, almost treat it like a throwaway. Like just build me a lot of code really quick, and then I'm going to go in and kind of give it those like really specializations, right? Those really like custom touches, because I know what those are, and those are going to change as I continue to build the application. So this draft file is something I'm going to write kind of once and then throw it away. I would only ever really do it again for like brand new code, brand new controllers, brand new models, and honestly probably only when I had a critical mass, like 2 or 3 things I wanted to generate. If I just have one quick model, I'm just going to use the artisan make commands. So you have to remember that Blueprint, is about rapid development. It's kind of like those tools like Laravel new. Like sure, I could use, Composer create project, but using Laravel new with all its fancy features now makes it faster. But it also doesn't like necessarily configure CI on GitHub per se, right? That's just beyond the scope. So if I weren't talking this through, like I would probably have built this draft file in less than 5 minutes. And that's the trade-off, right? Less than 5 minutes, I'm gonna get my entire, core application, and from there I just start adding the rest of the stuff. Okay, what else are we gonna have? Event. What is event gonna have? Event, we'll just also make it a resource controller, and you're definitely probably gonna have everything with an event. So I'm just gonna make it all the things. Let's go ahead and make a user controller. Resource, definitely not index, but you probably are gonna have edit. Well, you're gonna have create. Actually, you're probably gonna have everything. I'm gonna have everything for it and just kill the index myself, probably. We could list them all out, but again, Blueprint is about being super quick. So I'd rather just have them all and then kill index on user. Photo is going to be a little different. Photo will probably have everything because you're going to be able to see all the photos you made. You're going to be able to, add them. It's going to have a create, so it's not really an API resource either. It's going to have probably a screen. Like all this stuff initially, again, MVP is going to be kind of like, just page refresh kind of stuff. Maybe down the road I'll take a look at some of the cooler new features, maybe like Livewire or whatnot. But I think for now, just page refresh is going to be okay. Okay, so we've generated all of our models and controllers. So let's just see this in action. PHP artisan blueprint build. Now again, this may not be ultra pretty with, oh, never mind, it worked. Okay, so look at everything it created, right? I mean, yeah, I talked through that for a good 15 minutes, but I mean, it gave me everything. Generated all those controllers, generated all the factories, generated the migrations for them, the models that we needed, the controllers, created form requests for each of the different objects based on the validation that needs to happen. It touched all the resources that are there. So pretty much the only thing it didn't do was make seeders. And the really cool thing about all this is it actually generates tests as well. Now again, there's going to be some touch up we need to do here, but the point is that's all those files were created, from this 32 line file, including multiple line breaks. So under 30 lines and we get all this code. So while we're thinking about it, let's jump in here. Let's look at the routes. So I'm going to get rid of some of these default routes to begin with. We should have probably done that before we started with Blueprint. So we've got resource, and this one made the only method, so that's pretty cool. So attendee, event, user, photo, etc. That's awesome. What else do we have in here that we could take a peek at? Let's go look at these migrations and factories. So the factory got generated, faker name. Ooh, I actually need to update that to be those. I'll make a note on Blueprint to do that. And we actually don't need those anymore either, so let's clean that up. Well, we don't need those provided it follows the Laravel conventions. So good to know there. And then we can kind of see where it generated table ID, column name, gave it the timestamps. What was I think photos was soft deletable. So there we go, there's a soft deletes all built into it. Let's go look at the models. So attendee has factory, it generates things with fillables, it has casts, here's our relationships. So photos, an attendee has many photos, and then belongs to many events potentially. Oh, speaking of which, did it give us, yeah, there it is. Create attendee event table. So attendee event is attendee and event. So there's our bridge table. So that's pretty cool. Going back to event, let's see here. Belongs to a user, good. So all that was automatic. Photo, all right, all that looks good. Okay, so user's the one where we need to kind of add some stuff ourselves. And I think we said we just wanted a has many, has many on the events. So let's say a user could have many event, right? All right, so I think that takes care of all of our models that we need. Okay, what else can we take a peek at? We can start seeing some stuff. There was something I thought of just a minute ago, but I can't remember now. What time is it? I'd kind of like to see this running. So let's do PHP artisan migrate. Everything migrated, so good. PHP artisan serve. We're not really going to be able to see anything. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, let's finish cleaning up. Let's get rid of that welcome page. Okay, so in here, it did create all these, but they're just empty sections with no real output. We actually don't even have the layouts app, so we should probably, I might save some of the UI stuff for tomorrow. I'm trying to think of what else I could do right now to kind of demonstrate some of this working. Let's go back and look at our routes. PHP artisan. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. We need to set up. We want to change event to use that slug, right? So I think if we go into models, event, I always forget what it is. It's like, I think it's route key. Laravel model route key. Route key? Yeah, there we go. Get route key name. Perfect. This is exactly what we want because we're using slug. Let's just drop that in there. All right. And then let's run this again. And we should event, but it's going to be a slug. So I think what I'd like to do is let's get event working real quick, and we can just mess around in artisan actually and make like a fake one. So PHP artisan tinker, we can make like, actually to that point, let's go look at the database factories, attendee event. Perfect. So it's going to make us a user anyway. Okay, cool. So let's do event equals event factory create. Oh, that's kind of bad. I think I've seen this before in applications where, like, yeah, when you use the word event, it's always gonna default to the event facade because it's registered in the global namespace, or it's aliased in the global namespace. Here's that deprecation stuff we were talking about. I think we'll spend the last 5 minutes running this through the workbench because I actually have a task that fixes that. This is a massive slug. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's just prove that some of this is working, and then we'll clean up those faker things. So this just gets us all event at the index. So let's go to event index. It can't find it for some reason. That's strange. Event index. There you are. So let's uncomment that. We don't have this layouts app, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's just do this for now. Let's just at dd events, because that's what should come out here. So if we leave this, not tinker, if we serve, we should, okay, so we don't have a home page, no problem. Events is not found either, is that true? Oh, I think it's singular. There we go. So we got one item in the array, and that is the event we just created in the console. So again, not pretty, but the point is all of this is generated and working. The last thing I want to do before we jump out to creating this on GitHub and so forth, let's run vendor-ven PHP unit. Oh, I need that. I remember somebody opening an issue about that. That's slightly unintuitive. Yeah, Blueprint actually relies upon these additional assertion package that I made. I think it's in the suggestion. If we go back, 2 packages, yeah. Where's suggest actually? Oh, composer suggest. Can I still run that? I think, yeah, there we go. So PHP artisan, composer require dev. There we go. I want to see if these tests are running that were generated by Blueprint. Okay, so we got one failure, and we got the DD, of course, that's dumping out from our view. But for the most part, it's actually running pretty well. Let's take this out. Oh, I bet you what's happening is that layouts app is blowing up. So it's actually not running. Yeah, see, view layouts app doesn't exist. So I bet you half of these failures probably have to do with the fact that I just don't have the front end set up the way Blueprint would expect. Okay, that's fine. Let's finish up by going to GitHub, my GitHub, not Laravel Shift. And let's create a new repository. Comments are in the way, sorry, here we go. Okay, and again, I'm just gonna call this project A. I've got no idea what to call this yet. I don't wanna add anything else because it's all been generated for me. All right, let's copy this here. We don't need to change the name, so I just need to add remote. And we can go ahead and push that initial commit, and then let's start going through this. So let's do git. I think everything in there looks pretty good to me. Let's just git add dot. I'm not a huge fan of that command, but that's okay. Actually, you know what? Git reset.blueprint and draft.yaml. I actually don't want these files to ever be committed, so I think I'm going to add them to the .gitignore. And when I do this, I like just adding like a little custom, not that, there we go. Just to let me know, kind of remind me, these are the things I've added myself. So if we git status again, we should just have the gitignore file now, and those are always going to be ignored. If you were working on a team where everyone was using Blueprint, I could see committing those files, or at least the .blueprint file, because it kind of has like a running cache of the project. But honestly, I probably would never commit those, to be honest. I think you would get into trouble. Git commit -m generate core components. Git push origin head. Okay, let me check the chat. I heard some bubbling, and then let's run. Yeah, I've got just a few minutes. Let's run. Let's run two things actually. Let's go out. Well, let's run one thing. Let's go out to laravelshift.com. Let's run, or actually, I want to run the workbench. And not PHP 8 stuff, there we go. Use faker methods. And let's do GitHub, and let's borrow this. Let's see if this works. Again, I don't get to run stuff very often, so it's one of the reasons I like doing these live streams. All right, let's run that against Project A. This should clean up those faker method warnings that we were seeing in the console way back up here somewhere. I'm not going to scroll up, forget it. Cool. So use faker methods, just a little workbench task. I don't want to say it's free. I think it is. I think I made that free. Let's find out. Faker, yes, it is a free task. So if you have that warning in your projects, jump out, log into Shift, run it straight from the cloud-based, as you saw, and look at that, it's going to clean all those up. I won't get any of those deprecation warnings anymore. So I'll also update Blueprint to do that. I'll put it on the list for later in the week, but you can kind of save the day with the other stuff. So all those methods that were property access are now converted to method names, or method calls. So let's go ahead and merge this. And good. Delete that branch, clean it up. Okay, so everything's out here. So what, in 40 minutes, we've generated a brand new Laravel project and updated or created the core components that are on the whiteboard here behind me. So tomorrow, I think what we'll do is try to start getting that UI a little cleaner. I'll jump out with Tailwind UI. I actually have purchased this, so probably just start dropping in some of these components for forms, dashboards, whatever. Just quickly, I'll look at these tonight and pick a few really quick ones, and we'll just kind of bring these in and start building out those kind of front-end components. That way it's easier to use the application and kind of see it from there. I think tonight I will again review these and probably take a look at why those tests were failing. get that layout app and stuff running, get the test passing, so we can start TDDing those things later in the week. So with that, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you all join again tomorrow. Hit me up on Twitter with any questions, requests, thoughts, whatever, and I will see you then.